welcome to the Cartoon Network. The HowDoWeHuman podcast network.
Close one.
This is HowDoWeHuman, the podcast where we talk about all the weird and uncomfortable micro moments in life. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Binning.
And I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox. I didn't
Porky
follow through
Pig got a
with
little
that
southern
impression.
there.
I'm one of your hosts, Evan Cox.
It was like the forbidden love child of Porky Pig and Foghorn Leghorn.
Foghorn Leg Pig.
Anyway, we're going to be talking about cartoons today. For reasons we'll get into later. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
The first thing you got to worry about is how Evan's doing. So let's ask him, everybody. Evan!
Yeah.
How you doing?
Oh, shit. Doing good. Getting ripped out there.
Nice.
Here's what happened.
Okay.
One day, I got a knock on the door. It's 7 a.m. Now, you've been here. It's not like I'm in the middle of the city anymore. A knock at the door at 7 a.m. What the fuck is this about? This is like, I forget if I said it on the podcast or just told you, when there was just a guy walking on our roof all of a sudden, first thing in the morning. And so I didn't notice the knock at first, but my dogs were going crazy. So after a little bit, I got up and saw him walking away. It was a guy in a, what do you call it, reflector vest, like a hard-working man. So I ran down there, talked to him, because I'm like, oh, that doesn't look good. Maybe we have no water or no power. Who knows? He says, we're tearing down this tree. So there's a tree at the bottom of our driveway. It's actually the neighbor's side, but they're AirBnBers. So house is empty. So he was just letting us know, we're going to be tearing down this tree. We're going to be blocking your driveway for pretty much the next 2 days. Let us know if you got to leave, et cetera, et cetera. And then
Mr.
also,
Gorbachev, tear down this tree.
Tear down this tree. Yeah. And now us and the Airbnb neighbors are one unified nation. Yeah. Anyways. Nice. But the other thing he said is, you want any of this wood?
Oh.
You want me to give you some wood?
And you were like, sir, that's inappropriate.
I'm like, sir, listen. Not so loud. I was kind of so sleepy. I'm like, I don't know if this is a good idea or a bad idea, but I know free is better than expensive. So, yes.
True.
I just said, yes, absolutely, we will take this wood. I had to sign something. That's when I started getting nervous. Like, is this a mistake? Should I not be taking this wood? All right, I signed it. And after they were done, they left it there. And they left it in, the tree itself, I don't know, how much is that? 3 or 4 feet, probably 4 feet wide at the base, I'd say. It's a thick-ass tree.
Yeah.
Going up. So they didn't give us the base of it, obviously, but like about halfway up the tree, everything past that. So we're talking maybe 3 feet. 3 feet wide, most of these, but they kept them just around. So they're like 3 feet wide, maybe 2 feet tall, most of them. So it's like, all right, we gotta chop this into firewood, and then you gotta let it season for like a year. How am I gonna chop this shit? Are we gonna hire someone to do it? I'm gonna break myself learning how to be a DIY lumberjack and get into splitting wood.
Hell yeah.
Chopping this shit. So
is it true you have to let it season for like a year?
It has to dry, and I mind it because it's like so sappy and shit inside. It's just, you gotta sit it there. I've getting ahead of myself now, but found you can get a moisture detector that you can stick into the wood. It needs to be below 20%. Otherwise, it won't burn very well, and it gets smoky as hell.
Got it.
So, I borrowed an axe and a little wedge I was just kind of hacking at it for a while, but it was starting to hurt my lower back. And so I was like, I should look up, proper form, whatever. I find this YouTube channel. Her name is Nicole Coenen. I don't know. Conan. Coenen. Coenen. Canadian wood chopper. And, when you find a good YouTube channel, it rules, especially if it's tutorials and they can comfortably and entertainingly fit that tutorial in under 3 minutes. That's a hero. And Nicole is my hero right now. I reckon, even if you're not, it's just fun. Watch her chop some wood. She's great. But anyways, I'm watching here. I'm learning form. I'm learning stacking. I'm learning properly how to go about doing all of this stuff.
I'm watching here is what you yell at the mid-roll ads that pop up. I'm watching here.
That should be the option. Is skip and then below it, hey, I'm watching here. Anyways, so I don't want to make this seem like a thing. Orientation shouldn't matter, but in this case, it's funny. So she is a lesbian. She's out and proud and makes a lot of videos about that.
And you think that's the funny part?
I think that's hilarious. No. Female, gay, lumberjack, could kick my ass if she wanted to. I hope she doesn't. And she's given me all this great information. It's a fantastic YouTube channel. And then what is the ad I get? The post roll.
FarmersOnly.com.
Even better. After this video ends, it's a doctor reading a question from presumably a listener. Do you know what makes the tool small? Being small has nothing to do with genetics. Maybe about small penises. What the? I think penis enlargement companies are targeting the fact that if a guy is watching a lesbian chop wood, he's not confident in himself.
I see where we've gotten.
Sorry if I led anyone astray and confused you. Amazing. Absolutely mind-blowing. Yeah. And I loved it. I loved the whole experience. Anyways, go check out her YouTube channel. I don't know what it's called, but that's her name.
Cool.
Chris?
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. My wife and I flew back to Phoenix to visit my mom for Mother's Day.
Nice.
And when we were flying back, something amazing happened in the TSA line. The TSA was backed up a little bit. We're all standing there because, as always, there are people who get to the bins and they're like, I gotta do what? I gotta take off my shoes? Both of them?
I never take off my shoes.
There's nothing in my pockets except all sorts of loose change. Is that okay? Like, oh my God.
And loose change and a gun. One of the, I don't see what the problem is.
One of the TSA officers came up to me and was like, "Sir, can you come with me, please?"
Oh no!
And so I walk, and they bring me over to an open lane because they saw I already have my shoes off. I'm ready to go. I'm 7 people away from the conveyor belt, but I'm ready. They saw that and they said, "You get over here." And then I got to go right on through because and this is now, federally recognized by the TSA. I'm the perfect little traveler.
Right. There we go.
As, cringy millennials might say, I won the airport for today.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody else go home. I won the airport. You and I were talking about cliches that we hope die. I can't believe that this one the internet is still around.
That's pretty rough.
Out of here.
That has been around for a long time now.
Speaking of things that have been around for a long time, Evan, You want to talk about cartoons?
I do. I do want to throw out because I don't know if. All right, it's all coming together for me.
Okay.
Who was our? Was either Kaylee or Mary? Who was our guest who said they like spectacles?
I believe that was Kaylee.
I think that was Kaylee. Should we do an episode on spectacles? And that would be funny to have Kaylee back on.
Like glasses?
What was that? Oh,
Like
spectacles.
glasses?
No, because we'll get off this quick. Am I the only other person here
Yes.
that hadn't heard a fucking word about the Aurora Borealis being visible from the West Coast until it was too late? And it was like, I was here, I was inside, and I'm looking at people posting from Big Bear,
Yes.
like 20 minutes from here, and it looks fucking beautiful. I didn't hear a word about it. What the fuck?
Yeah,
mad.
I also did not hear about it until after it had passed. I was in Arizona when it was going on, so I wouldn't have been able to see it anyway. But yeah, that I know that even if I was here, I wouldn't have seen it. I know, why didn't people talk about it?
Tell us. Share with us. Send us an email. HowDoWeHumanPod@gmail.com. We gotta
now I
got to
be on Google every single day and be like, am I going to see Aurora Borealis today? That sucks.
This is genuinely
it's going to waste my time.
Of this, that's what we get. We're not I mean, Twitter isn't Twitter anymore, but we're not on there anymore, and that is where we would have learned.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true.
So I don't know. No Borealis for us.
Aurora but I never feel Borealis when I'm watching cartoons.
You never watched a boring cartoon before? Let's think about this.
Yeah, that's fair. I probably have watched a boring cartoon.
What's a boring cartoon? Not including like little kids cartoons.
Right.
I could look at
Coco
Franklin now.
For sure.
And be like, you know what, Franklin, you're boring as hell. Get off my lawn. Hey, it's Franklin. I don't care. I don't care who you are.
I mean, of the, like Looney Tunes as an example, yes. I did not enjoy a majority of Foghorn Leghorn's material.
Oh, really? Interesting. I'd say I said.
There was also like 2 like chipmunk or maybe mouse characters in the Looney Tunes that I like did not enjoy much of either. So I don't know if they count as boring or if like I just didn't like them. That's the struggle that I have. I don't know.
Struggle.
Yeah. Evan, you mentioned, hey, when we were trying to figure out what to do for this week's episode, and you mentioned, I could talk a lot about cartoons. What prompted this topic to come to the forefront of your brain?
Let me tell you. I've talked in the past about my difficult relationship with cartoons. As a kid, nothing better. Loved them. And then loved cartoons at an age where everything is awkward. Let's say late middle school, early high school. And was mocked for that. Particularly remember a day watching Dragon Ball Z and getting caught by a girl and her making fun of me. Saying, how old are you?
Don't laugh at me. I'll go Super Saiyan.
Don't laugh at me. But I think like a few situations along those lines really fucked with my head and made me go like, oh, cartoons for babies. I'm not babies. I'm big boy.
Right.
I'm big boy, no cartoons. Look at me, ladies. Look at the big boy with no cartoons. Still getting no attention from women. But I think, like, genuinely, to now in my life, like, there would be a handful of cartoons I'd watch, but they're adult cartoons, or nowadays, like, your Rick and Morty's and shit, Archer, like these days where it's like, oh, more adult jokes, it's okay, they're for big boys, they're for big boys, no cartoons. And so I would watch even shit like that. It's mostly like I watch this alone in the dark in my apartment, and I don't talk about it. There's just insecurity there. Like, I can't be seen watching cartoons. And we had talked in a previous episode about how we don't necessarily get anime.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's not true. I've been into anime before, but it was when I was younger. I secretly watched Death Note like 10 years ago. That was fucking amazing. And so my friend Robbie, he's very into animes, and he had got me back into Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I'm watching that right now, and I'm like, you know what? This is good. It is good. And my girlfriend's fine with just watching cartoons all the time. We watch a lot of Bob's Burgers. Now, that's not necessarily for kids, but it's not like adult either, Long story short, I'm in this middle ground right now of like trying to figure out, who am I?
Sure.
What the fuck am I doing? And trying to rediscover, because in our general age group, particularly animes, but just cartoons in general, they rule the roost. I'm in the wrong. Everybody loves a good cartoon.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely like, when we first decided on this topic, I was like, I don't know how this relates to our podcast. And
Did I
I
do it?
think the listeners can tell that I'm always trying to keep things on track in this episode. I really like to make sure everything ties back into our thesis.
Yeah.
And so anyway, as I was thinking about it, I was like, oh no, this actually like very much ties into the idea of feeling awkward about something I enjoy, because
Yeah.
I do, like, when I was a child,
Mm-hmm.
obviously loved cartoons, as many a child does. And then growing up, still like had an appreciation um for animation, but it, like, we've talked about how I would draw a lot, and so I think
Yeah.
when you draw a lot, you get a little bit of a pass on still like watching animated stuff, where people are like, "Hey, must be doing research. I don't know. You must be watching Kim Possible for a smart reason."
I was not given that olive branch. It's not a cartoon, but there was another girl I liked, and she saw me drawing some Star Wars stuff. She's like, "What are you drawing?" I'm like, "This is Star Wars," and she just laughed at me. So I just got a lot of hang-ups here.
Yeah, well, I do think that there was still like a societal thing in school of like, hey, we don't mess with anything animated anymore.
Yeah.
We only watch like
An inconvenient
R-rated stuff. I remember like when The Hangover came out, and I was in sophomore year of high school, maybe I was a junior, but it was like all anybody wanted to talk about was like The Hangover. And so I think that there was like such a need to be seen as like, I'm a serious adult because I like The Hangover. It's like,
Not much this goofy ass comedy.
yeah, but it does feel like that, and even
For
you
sure.
still see a little bit of it today in the very toxic online comments between, as an example, like DC and Marvel, where
Sure.
like the Marvel movies are for children. I'm an
Yes.
adult because I like Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. What are you talking about?
Yes, we're arguing over comic books.
Yeah.
This-
But it was that
arguably
same vibe of
cartoons.
like, no, I'm an adult, so I can't watch anything animated. Even like, and they were, I think, beginning to quote unquote jump the shark if they hadn't already by the time I was in high school. But even something like The Simpsons, right?
Sure.
Uh, no, that's a cartoon.
Yeah.
I can't watch that. I think Family Guy and South Park might be the exception because they were just so obscene
Yeah.
that it still counted as like,
This is
oh,
cool.
I'm still an adult because I love Mr. Hanky or whatever the fuck.
I love Mr. Hanky. I'm cool. No, I think that's you're bringing up a great point, which is like the bar moves, and now the bar is so much lower where it's like people aren't like globally we are no longer considering Marvel movies for kids. Those are for
Right.
everybody. We all love them, and I don't know. I find myself on a weird side of that bar, and I'm just trying to climb back across it so I can watch Hey Arnold
Sure.
in the comfort of my own home.
Yeah, because there is still like, you were saying that like, oh, it's not as weird anymore to watch that stuff, and I think that there is some truth to that, but there is also like, for example, I've heard many a time that Bluey is just an all around great show.
Right. Same.
But if I were to be like, yeah, I watch Bluey too, people would be like, you don't have any kids. Why are you doing that? It would be still considered weird.
Yeah.
Um, and I think like there are still enough people who still believe in the like, okay, but animation is still like more for children.
Yeah.
In fact, 2 years ago at the Oscars, when Guillermo del Toro won Best Animated Feature for Pinocchio,
Yes.
and in his speech, he was like, "Animation is not just for kids. Animation is for everyone. We hope that the industry and the audience, kind of catch up and respect us
Yeah.
as filmmakers like everybody else." And then this past year, animated feature gets ready to start, and Jimmy Kimmel's like, "Time for animated feature. You guys let your kids fill out this part of the ballot too?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, fuck animation." It's like, oh no, Guillermo, there's still so much work to be done.
Get to it, Guillermo. Listen, I'll watch any cartoons Guillermo del Toro wants to make. No, yeah, that's a very good point. There's still and like me, uh, you've helped me kind of get through that in terms of animated movies, because again, it's not like I didn't like or wouldn't like any of these movies, but like even when we started this podcast, we always talk about the Oscars, and when it comes time to talk about animated feature, I'm just like, yeah, I just haven't seen any of these. I don't go out of my way to watch them, and yeah, just you talking to me, you're like, no, watch Mitchell's versus the Machines, watch Puss in
Yeah.
Boots: The Last Wish.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm so glad I watched both those movies. They're fucking great. I don't know. So even when it's not like above board, like I'm insecure about this or
Right.
whatever, it's like I just don't do. I've just trained myself like those aren't for you. I was like, but aren't they? Aren't they a little bit for me? I've always loved it.
Yeah. I know. I've tried to get my wife to like, we're trying to find shows to watch. We've kind of alternated back and forth. I showed her The Office. She
Hmm.
showed me Sex in the City. You
Yes.
know, I showed her Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but we're trying to like go through different shows that each of us has seen and liked. And I tried to get her on board with watching BoJack Horseman.
Ah, the best.
And yeah, just a phenomenal show.
Amazing.
But in her mind it's still like, but that's like a cartoon. So like, come on. I'm not
But
gonna
it's
watch
a cartoon
BoJack
that'll give
Horseman.
you an existential crisis.
Yeah, it's a
That's
cartoon that's
for
gonna make
adults.
you feel bad about
It's gonna
yourself.
make you feel fucking terrible. It's my favorite
It's
show.
the best show ever made.
It truly is. I think it's one of the greatest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Uh, but like, is that the barometer for like, oh, it's okay for me to openly talk about this cartoon because it's about like alcoholism and self-hate?
yeah,
I don't know. Oh, it's so fucking good. I was gonna. I'm curious about this, and I wish before we'd recorded I'd asked. But I remember when I was a kid, not a kid, maybe preteen, teenager. There was a point we had. I think we just called it the family room. You know, just like a den almost. A
yeah,
door closes, you can open it. There's a spot to watch TV. And my dad was working out in there. And I remember walking in and he was watching the Flintstones. And he was so happy about it. And he's like, I
yeah.
used to watch this shit all the time when I was a kid. And I wonder, like, I hadn't thought about that again really until now. But I'm like, was there, because it is different back then when it's like, well, we didn't just have Flintstones around all the time. You know, the cartoons I liked, they aired at certain points on TV. But like, was there
You had
that?
to get vitamins just to be close to the
Yes, just
Flintstones.
to get my Flintstones fix. I gotta get vitamin B and Wilma. But like, you know, obviously it seems like it would be more so. But like, did it even have to be said back then? Like, were you told now is the time to stop watching cartoons?
Mm.
Or did he just do it and then remember one day at random when he saw it on TV, like, oh, I love the Flintstones? I don't know. The things I think
Yeah,
about.
I
That's
don't know
so interesting.
how that would have worked either. I mean, I definitely watched the Flintstones as well. I don't know
It's
if you
good
had
stuff.
access to Boomerang, the cable
Not.
channel that aired a lot of old cartoons. I watched quite a bit of Boomerang. I watched Cartoon Network a lot before I felt like some of these some of these shows were no longer for me. I think that like there's a difference between like outgrowing like certain shows or
Yeah,
tones of certain shows and
totally.
outgrowing like the concept as a whole, which I don't think
Yeah.
you can do. I think people force it upon themselves of just like, well, I just won't watch any anymore. It's like, well, you're
Yeah.
missing out on a lot of like cool, funny stuff. Like some of the best, you were talking about how I like have, you know, pointed out several movies to you, but I feel like, you know, people talk about how like they don't make like comedy
Yeah.
movies much anymore. It's like most of the funniest movies I've seen
Yeah.
in the last like 5 years have been animated. Like
Yeah.
that's just because you can do so much more.
You could do
Um
anything with it, and so a lot of the jokes are fresh. Like, I'm gonna mix all their names up. Into the Spider Verse. I only saw the first one. I need to
yeah,
catch up.
that's yeah.
But like, that's a well, you know, anything those crazy cats put together. I can't think of their names right now. Lord and Miller.
Lord and Miller.
Um, it's like, yeah, they use animation to make fresh jokes that I haven't heard before. And how many comedies do I go to where it's like, I've heard this joke in another movie before?
Yeah.
Not saying there aren't any good comedies. That's a fallacy.
Right.
There are great comedies out
There are.
there. But it's a medium worth keeping an eye on. And I think a lot of people do just relate to watching cartoons as a kid. So they see, like I would have, the Mitchells versus the Machines. You see that poster on Netflix, and you go like, "Oh, that's for kids."
Mm-hmm.
But it's also for you.
Yeah.
Come with me, and you'll see.
That's the other, like, I was talking to a friend, and I could name him, but I don't want to because
Out
this
'em.
story's gonna make him not look so great. But
Just say it.
was talking to
Donald Trump. your best friend.
yeah, I was talking to my best friend Donald Trump about Kung Fu Panda 4
Yes.
cuz he had seen it, and then I had seen it later.
Yeah.
And impressive work by the animators, but overall I felt like um not a it was the first of the 4 Kung Fu Panda movies to feel like they made it so that they could make money and tell their shareholders, don't worry, we got another Kung Fu Panda coming.
Yeah.
um but definitely some, not all, but certainly some lazier jokes, and some very bizarre choices to bring certain characters back and then never have them speak, things like that, where it's like, this, something doesn't add up here.
Yeah.
And my best friend Donald Trump said to me, well, it's for kids. I bailed on that impression. But
Hot start though.
I know. Well, but but like, that just is such a, like, I don't necessarily accept that that reasoning of, well, it's for children, so it's allowed to be lazy.
Yeah,
It's
it's,
like,
it's
no,
allowed to be
no, it's
not
not.
great. Which weirdly that popped into my head that like it did feel like everyone, because you hear about it a lot, it felt like everyone did go and see the Super Mario movie or whatever the fuck it was
Uh-huh.
called, which wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But like everyone made an exception. Like, I'll go see this
Mm-hmm.
cartoon
Yeah.
because it's what everyone's talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't
Those
have a point to
Spider-Verse
that.
movies do pretty well. It's like every now
Yeah.
and then there's like there feels like an exception. I'm
Yeah.
sure that well, I feel like Inside Out 2 this summer will
Sure.
probably do pretty
I
well.
think Pixar at this point gets a pass. People know. People know. I do. I
I
wonder.
think that
Do you
was true, but
think
I think they might not really get a pass anymore.
maybe not?
I
But
feel
like,
like the quality is, like, they started out on such a hot streak,
yeah,
and now they've had enough misses where it feels like maybe we wait for Disney Plus, or maybe we just don't see it at all. Like,
yeah. No, that's true. I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I don't remember where I was going. What are we
well, then
talking
I'll
about?
jump in here and add
Please.
another point of, like, we all there's so many good animated movies, and you could argue that this is a point that I'm about to make is also true of, like, foreign language
Hmm.
or international films, as we call them now,
Yeah.
where they'll come out and then we have to make a live action one too for some reason.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah.
I've heard that filming on the live action How to Train Your Dragon has wrapped production. It's like, nobody wants that.
No, that's
That's
so
gonna be
weird.
worse.
Eh. But that, yeah, it's like the same thing is happening left and right, especially right now. Right over there, to the right, to the left. With animes, as they're taking them and making live action series out of them. One Piece being the big success.
Right.
And I'm like, that's it. It just literally feels like the definition of what we're talking about. It's like it's the same material. I've
Yeah,
never watched either. I know people love that anime though, and I'm like, yeah, people really felt like, oh, I'll watch this live action version of an anime because I hear it's good. Doesn't matter how many times I hear the other one's good. Not gonna watch that. That's a cartoon.
yeah.
Mm,
And hey, most of
hey,
the live action ones are not good, but
no,
people are still like, yeah, I'll watch a worse version of Avatar: The Last Airbender if I see a real human face in it.
same with
Why?
previously mentioned Death Note. They made that terrible,
Yeah,
terrible movie.
yeah. They made that Cowboy Bebop show where
That's
John Cho got
right.
seriously injured.
I didn't hear about that. Sorry, John.
I know.
I hope I wasn't involved.
I hope I wasn't
I hope
involved.
not. I touched that man's shoulder once.
Did you really?
Yeah, I've got a
At a White
picture.
Castle? Where were
Is
you?
that the radio job? Him, Alice Eve, and Simon Pegg came in for Star Trek Into Darkness. And I stood between him and Alice Eve like this, like a creepy
Yeah.
scarecrow.
Yeah, I mean, that was an issue that you had in that radio station of birds just coming in to interrupt the interviews.
It's not what I was hired for, but they eventually found like
Like, birds are
birds
really
don't
afraid
like
of
this
Evan.
guy. Birds don't fuck with that. Ha! I'd be a good scarecrow.
You pull any pranks on set?
It's quality stuff. Well, sorry, John. Sorry, John Cho. I forgot that live action version of that show even happened. That was when my friend was like, "You gotta watch Cowboy Bebop, the original anime," and that was when I started. That I'm just like, "This is not for me." You were wrong, friend. People
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, they
Just wasn't
do.
for me.
Yeah. I mean,
Happens.
that's the thing is I think that animation isn't a genre, it's a medium,
Right.
but it is like, maybe not every like to say that I don't like horror movies,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like, well, no, there are actually like several good ones that I like. I feel
Yeah.
like even though it's not a genre, animation like should kind of fall into that of like even if you think most are for children, which is probably incorrect, but it's like there's still plenty of things out there that you might enjoy.
Yeah. There's actually the inverse of everything I've been saying, where I feel that we were talking before about the cycles in media. Again, we'll get a Patreon out there, but like it, I have felt for a while, and maybe that is a part of feeling like I can't watch cartoons, is that it felt like like since Adult Swim on Cartoon Network took off, cartoons, like it felt like the percentage switched where it's like now the majority of cartoons feel like they're made for adults and have like
Yeah.
raunchy humor and stuff. And hey, Paw Patrol's doing fine, don't worry about it. But I do just have that thought, like every cartoon movie that comes out has to, oh, we gotta have big jokes, horny jokes for the parents. Which that's my next topic. Why are cartoons so fucking horny? But it is, there's a level of me that's like, I grew up particularly watching like the Don Bluth cartoons and shit like that. It's like, these are for kids. Five Goes West, this is a movie for kids. I don't see a lot of movies like that come out anymore where it's just like, this is just a good kids cartoon. Kids will laugh at this and not because it's fart jokes. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Maybe I'm wrong.
there's definitely a lot of fart
A lot of farts.
jokes in these
And kids love
animated movies.
farts.
Farts and poops
But we don't got to stoop that
and
low.
burps.
Yeah.
Cuz I was about to counter you and
About how horny
say
cartoons are.
no. But I was going to say, well, I think arguably the Minions are that now,
Maybe.
but a lot of fart jokes in the Minions. So You
Listen,
might
I haven't
be.
seen any of those movies. I hear they're a good time, so maybe I'll get around to it. I don't know what I'm saying. Honestly, I think all I'm saying is I think I'm saying the wrong thing, and what I really mean is I just miss traditional hand drawn animation,
Yeah,
and I
it's
don't think kids like that anymore.
see, I don't know if that's true. I do think because it seems like a lot of people miss hand drawn animation.
I would think so, but
And
they're
I mean,
old, like me.
that's the thing is are they all old? I mean they're interesting like now that certain studios and productions have started to like use different art styles instead of all trying to look exactly like Pixar.
Yeah,
It's a
that
little bit
helps.
nicer, the like the Spider-Verse movies or Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Again, you
The
can do
Teenage Mutant Ninja
anything.
Turtles from last year kind of had its own
Yeah,
style, and so that helps a little bit where I think people are a little bit more like it kind of scratches that itch a little bit.
art.
Um but I think that it's less about if children would want hand drawn animation or at the very least something that looks hand drawn. I don't know what like to go back to Bluey for example. I don't
Let's
know if
go
that's
back.
hand drawn or if that's done like through a computer program to look hand drawn.
Hmm.
But I think that it's more about it's cheaper to
True.
do CG, and it is like there are so many post strike. It's been very clear to me how like cynically bad the entertainment business
Really?
is
Yeah,
of
expose
like it
themselves.
is strictly, and this is true of most industries at this point, but
Yeah,
like every decision that is made is for the shareholder and not for the consumer or the employee or
100%.
anybody else. It is strictly for the shareholder to be like, yes, we're gonna make money because Toy Story 5 is coming out. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know about that.
sure. If that's what you
um,
want to do.
yeah.
I'll watch
Uh,
it. They're right. I'll go fucking see it in theaters. Ugh,
part of the problem, Evan.
I am part of the problem. It's the only cartoons I watch. Fuck, what was I? What were we just talking about before that, though?
Hand drawn animation.
I did want to shout out.
Cause like
Well,
the boy
first
and the
off,
heron, that was hand drawn,
I mean,
baby.
hey, Hayao Miyazaki don't fuck around. Except when it comes to announcing his last film. He fucks around all the time. Anyways, I would just like, and maybe there is a case for this, and maybe the thing I'm about to mention is a case of that. But with technology as far as it is, it's like we've taken like, oh, computers can make computer generated images, so they have to be more real, three-dimensional, this and that. But like that mean we're far enough that a computer could 100% replicate the look of hand drawn animation.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. I don't know. Is that such a bad thing? But I wanted to shout out, I watched the trailer for the Apple TV Plus adaptation of the Frog and Toad books. And that looked sweet as hell
Yeah.
and like 100% the books I read when I was a kid. And I'm like, oh, I might have to watch that cartoon and it might just be lighthearted and sweet.
Is BoJack Horseman the most like recent cartoon like show, I guess, that
Show.
you've watched?
Not in terms of like when it came out.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, Bob's Burgers has been
Right,
plowing
yeah,
through
it's still
that
going.
recently. Um, but yeah, in terms of that, did that turn around? Because I watched that religiously. Did that turn around and make me watch anything else? Not that I can think of off the top of my head. What are the big ones that have come out since then?
I don't know.
I can't think.
I've mentioned this one to you before
Maybe
too,
Rick and
but
Morty. I haven't watched that in
oh
years
yeah.
though, since the Szechuan incident. Like,
Since
you know what? I don't think
you
these are
didn't
my
want to be
people.
associated with the fan base.
Nah.
There is something, and this kind of also comes back to it. I'm gonna say real quick though that I do watch Invincible on Amazon
Yes,
Prime,
and I've
but
heard that's great from multiple
yeah,
people.
that's good stuff. But it is. I saw a meme the other day, and that image of the two people on the bus, and one of them's looking out the window to the sunny like side, and they're all happy, and then somebody's looking out the other side, and it's like gloomy, and so they're sad.
I don't think I
Um,
do, but I understand it.
okay, I maybe I'll see if I can find an image of it, but this one, yeah, here we go.
Oh,
So,
yes, I have seen this.
it's your
Yeah.
perspective, of course. If you're only
Hmm.
looking at the one side, then you might be sad. And if you're
But,
looking at the other side, you might be happy. But anyway, this meme that I saw was only the side of this guy looking happy. And it was
okay.
just like enjoying something and not interacting with the fandom at all.
Hell
And
yeah.
that's
That's what's
perfect.
up.
There's nothing more blissful than
Yeah.
just enjoying something and not having to deal with
Other humans.
the other people. Yeah, exactly.
I love that. I looked up a list of the best animated shows of the 21st century. And of course, it is mostly anime. But one that
Sure.
popped on here is a good example of, I guess, era of cartoons. This ran from 2012 to 2016. And I put around that time like Adventure Time and shit like that. This one is Gravity Falls. And I know, like, there's some UCB voice performers in there, funny people involved with it. And I know a lot of adults that fucking flip for Adventure Time and shit like that. And that
Yeah.
was the peak of like, I'm way too old for this in my mind. And I never watched any of those shows. I think in that world, the most recent that I loved was SpongeBob SquarePants, and I did love that show.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of capped it for me. And I never watched any of those other shows. And honestly, still to this day, I've never watched shit from Adventure Time. And I see an image of any of those characters, and I go, I hate this. For
Adventure
no
Time.
reason.
I never finished it, but I watched Adventure Time because that was maybe right around. I don't know when that started, but I would have still been in high school, I think, right towards the end. And
Yeah.
it kind of like that felt like the shift a little bit where like enough people were like, actually though, have you seen Adventure Time? Have you seen Adventure Time? It's pretty good stuff. And so I watched some of it and I enjoyed it. It was a funny show. I do like there is so here's my
Lay it out.
theory. Okay?
All right, stop
Everybody is
holding
a
all your thoughts. Let it go.
everybody is a child, enjoys cartoons.
Yes.
Then we move up and eventually, at different rates,
Hmm.
people stop enjoying cartoons or stop letting themselves, find cartoons to watch.
Yeah.
And then at some point, stoners get back into cartoons.
Definitely the
And then,
SpongeBob arc.
yeah, the SpongeBob arc, definitely the Adventure Time arc,
Yeah.
where stoners get into cartoons and then spread it around to everybody else. And then people start to kind of, again at different rates, trickle back into like the enjoyment of different cartoons and movies. But I do think that stoners may play a heavy part in getting more adult eyes on cartoons.
Stoners play a heavier part in the economy than people act. Between cartoons and Taco Bell. Getting shit done.
Do you have a favorite cartoon character of all
Mm.
time, Evan?
Oh my god. Yeah, I had to zoom back to childhood. Favorite cartoon character of all time? Fuck, I don't know. Do you have one immediately?
I don't know if I have one. There are several, I think. I mean, it would be like as a child, certainly I was obsessed with Scooby Doo. So Scooby
Sure.
would probably have to take that number one spot. I was also
Trying to
rolling it back
remember.
to Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
Daffy Duck
loved
was pretty
some
high for
Wile E.
me.
Coyote.
Yeah.
But I say that because I posted on Instagram like, hey, let me um give me your thoughts, everyone,
Yeah.
on what cartoons people enjoyed. And then I did admittedly try to bait our audience a little bit because I wanted to see if any of them had had the experience of or now currently live the experience of animation is for children. And
Yes.
nobody took that bait. In
Damn.
fact, we got two responses. One
Really?
from former guest Tori
Hey
and
now.
one from at Drew Maraca.
Okay.
And both of them were like, no, no, no. We still love some animation. Um,
Tor is the perfect example of a person that's just like he doesn't care. He watches all sorts of shit and he lives a great life.
yes. In
And I'm
fact,
jealous.
he says that his in answering his favorite cartoon characters, he said Batman,
Oh,
Scooby
sure.
Doo, and
Mm.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles all still rock. Never gonna not love cartoons. And then Drew Maraca said the wonderful excuse me, the wonderful world of Mickey Mouse, and then he
Mhm.
also has Cartoon Network, and then the handshaking emoji
Okay.
with Disney. So an enjoyment of multiple things from both of them, and a nice recognition too, especially from Drew Maraca, that like you don't have to pick like, oh, I only watch
Yeah.
Cartoon Network. Oh, I only watch Disney. Oh, I only watch Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
Shh, quiet on set. Um, and, you could just enjoy all of it. You don't have to pit all these different things
Yeah.
against each other. It's
No,
so
Tori,
annoying
that
every
was.
time a DreamWorks or Disney movie comes out and everybody's like, Disney sucks. DreamWorks is where it's at. And then DreamWorks puts out a bomb and everybody's like, oh no, look what they done to my boy. It's so annoying.
But no, Tori, bro, that is a good one. Batman, because I don't generally think of Batman as the cartoon character anymore. But
Sure.
the animated series Batman, that was like my favorite show for a long time when I was a kid. So that's a big one. Batman and Daffy Duck, is that fair to say? The Men in
That
Black.
I want to see that team up.
It'd be pretty good. Daffy Duck is like Robin,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
kind of plopping around after him.
Batman teams up with Duck Dodgers. It's good stuff.
Darkwing Duck.
Yeah. That's a
Hey,
different guy, but yeah.
it's a different guy, but it's a duck. Here, if we were mind melding and I said Batman and you said Daffy Duck, I think it would be fair for us both to say Darkwing Duck.
Based on our experience of mind melding, we would never get to the same word.
You and I had one miraculous mind meld.
It's true.
Or I think we both said calcium. It was like the first one. Like I think it was bone something. I don't remember, but it's happened.
Should we get back into improv comedy?
Yeah, let's do it. Man, yeah. The funny thing, and we are reaching the end. We got to wrap this up. But like, the farther we get from us doing improv, not the more that I want to do it again, but the more that I do think about it and think like that could be a good episode. Like not looking back at the performances, but just like have a guest on.
Have
Go
all
in.
6 of our former teammates
I
on?
know
Let's
it's
do
what you want to
it.
do. You organize it. And I'll make it happen. Uh, I just want to before we take this quiz because we got to take it. I just in terms of the world of awkwardness, I got to talk about how horny these cartoons are.
Oh,
We
that's
all
right.
know
I
about
did not mean to stop this from
you.
happening.
Get out of there.
I embrace the horniness.
Please do. But we all know about Disney and their old animators sneaking. There's the half-naked lady in The Rescuers, or Sex in the Sky, and The Lion King, the dildo on the cover, which we have that at my childhood home, that VHS. Actually, maybe I have it here. The VHS of The Little Mermaid, where there's a dildo on the cover, and then in the movie, there's the little priest with a boner.
Mm-hmm.
There's all this stuff hidden in there. So I'm like, okay, there is just something inherently horny about animators for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But I also want to talk about, like, growing up, there's a specific sect of humanity. Some friends of mine who were just fucking obsessed with Sailor Moon.
Sure.
And it was for horny reasons.
Of course it was.
And it made me uncomfortable to be around.
Yeah.
When these kids are acting like the show is great. Just watching the show. And the short skirts. That was a big uncomfortable world for me, is having friends get horny watching cartoons and wanting to share that with me. Not interested, bro.
I agree with that. I don't mind when the creators of the shows sneak in some funny adult humor or a little bit of horniness just for the parents.
Just a sprinkle.
But when it's people your age and you're in school and they're like, I'd hit Elastigirl, and it's like, please don't do this. We all would, but we don't have to talk about it.
Let's not make this a community thing.
Yeah.
This is not the community I want to be a part of.
Yeah. I mean, this comes back to an episode we had a while ago. I don't even remember what it was, but just like, I don't want to be horny with my friends. You know what I mean? Or with strangers, really. It's like, maybe I'd like to be horny with one partner.
Good answer.
Show me horny with one partner.
His wedding ring starts burning. All right. And hey, if you want to be horny with your friends, go be horny with your friends. That's fine.
I just don't want to be friends with you.
I just don't want to be there. If I come a knocking, send me away. You know I don't want this. What we do want is to wrap this episode up and take a quiz. Since you've done so many, I'll double up and I'll try to do it fast. Okay. I'm terrible at doing this fast, though.
I'm terrible at thinking of a thing to say after you deliver each handle.
That's partially why I have to take over for a while. I think you did like 7 in a row, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck. But you can listen to more of this podcast. It's How Do We Human. If you've enjoyed it, let us know. Any platform, you can find it on any platform: Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify. Any of these platforms, you can do something to help us. If you find us likable and want to help us, leave us a review, leave us a rating. 5 stars is the best, and reviews that say we love you rule. Give us some love, por favor. Also, you can reach out to us on social media. You can find us on Instagram. We're at HowDoWeHuman.
We got that handle.
You can find us on Facebook, too. Same company, same handle, at HowDoWeHuman.
Abadi, we got that handle, folks.
You can find us.
Do you like that very slow Porky Pig stutter?
Abadi. You can find us on YouTube. You can watch full video versions of this podcast, and that is at How Do We Human. Also, not that, but at How Do We Human.
Randall.
Nice. You can also leave us a voice message, and we'll play it on the podcast, or not if you don't want us to. But the number to do that is 323-657-9896.
We got that phone number.
Mm-hmm. And then the email. There's too many things now, but you can also leave us an email. That's howdowehumanpod@gmail.com.
Well, The best part of that handle is that it's an email. It's me, Donald Trump.
Donald.
I don't have a D on the end of my name, so the impression's allowed to be awful.
It's me, Donald Logue.
That's right, baby. Evan, would you like to see if you can pass me in trivia finally?
That would be thrilling. I have no faith. I expect that this will be when you go 3 up on me or something. Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we are playing to 100 points. The score currently, Chris 43 points, Evan 40. Let's see what happens. Which type of fruit juice did Dole sell first? Apple, fruit punch, orange, or pineapple?
This sucks.
I have my answer. I'm going, first thought, best thought, as always. And it almost never works out, but that's where I'm going.
Because the first thought's got to be pineapple, right? But this feels like a trick. What would they have sold? Because I don't see Dole selling much of any of these. What would they have sold that they're like, we're never going back? Pineapple all the time. I gotta go off King and say I'm gonna say apple.
Okay, let's see. My second choice was orange, but I am going with pineapple.
It's a good choice.
Pineapple was correct. First thought, best thought, baby.
It's one of those like, why ask? That's just cruel. Because of course the answer is pineapple, but awful. Where is the only royal palace in the United States? California, Alaska, Hawaii, or New York?
I didn't realize we had a royal palace.
No.
So,
news to moi. Royal
I have
palace.
a guess that I'm not confident in.
Same.
Okay.
I'll just first up best thought. Follow your lead. New York.
Hawaii.
Let's
Let's see what happens.
It's
Hawaii
happening.
is
I called it. I knew it. Fuck.
Yes. What currency was used in the Netherlands before the introduction of the euro? Tollars, guilders, coronas, or kroons?
I thought I knew this, and some of these words are like close to the word I was thinking of. And I don't know if that's them trying to trick me or not. But I gotta do it again. I'm going kroons.
I think that's where I'm going to. I was between kroons and guilders.
I was between kroons and tollars. But let's
I'm
kroons it up.
Kroons, kroons just sounds more like a currency to me, and I don't know why. Those guilders, damn it.
It's being the driving crooner. What is the first? Is this my question?
Yes.
I don't even know what this is. What is the first event in a men's heptathlon? 60 meters, 1,000 meters, shot put, or long jump?
Man, I don't know. I'm between 2 of them.
I'm between 4 of them. No, I'm between 3.
Okay, what have you ruled out?
1,000 meters. That feels like way too long to start.
Okay, so I'm between 60 meters and 1,000 meters.
Interesting.
My thought being, like, you want to get started. You want to get people excited.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one it would be. Because you know what? Okay. I will explain how I have made this decision. Except as I'm speaking, I realize my reasoning is factually inaccurate. So that's a problem. But I am going to lock in 60 meters.
Damn, I want to say 60 meters too, but I gotta do it. 60 meters. That was my instinct. My other guess was long jump. All right. I'm not letting you
both get it right.
You're not getting too far away. Is this the last?
This is the last question. What type of animal was the first ever to be cloned from an adult cell? Sheep, rabbit, mouse, or monkey?
I think I know this.
I think I do too, which makes me think I don't know it. But I do think that
Is it
I
pineapple all over
know.
again?
I think I know it, but
I'm sticking
I'm
with
going. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stick with it too.
it. Ship.
That's where I'm going as well.
We are sheeple.
And we were correct.
The sheep
If
will
I
always
hadn't
win.
messed up that Netherlands question, I would have
Man.
gone 5 for 5.
Brutal.
I know.
So you're what, 2 up on me now? Or 2
yes,
more?
the score has moved. Evan, you have 42 points, and I have 47.
That's what I thought.
So back to
Bunch of bullshit.
back to a 5-point spread.
Listen, I want to keep it fair. I didn't want to run away with the whole thing. You know.
Yeah, you haven't been in the lead the entire time we've been playing, so
I wanted to
why
let you
start now?
let you have a day. All right. Well, how do cartoons end?
Besides abadi, that's all, folks.
Obadi, obadi, obadi. Okay, bye.
Real quick though, to make sure that we're still smart, Kroons is a monetary unit,
It's something.
but for Estonia and not for the Netherlands. So
Estonia.
Tragic.
Okay, bye.
Estonia, okay, bye.